All right, here we go. Game 2 of the grudge match. Up against the same guy, of course, after we both had to wait in that interminable 2.5 minutes because of the way that the sideboarding is done in Magic Online when you're playing a best-of-3 match, which I actually didn't intend to do. It sits there and it won't let you press the confirm your deck button because there's no sideboard, obviously, because it's Commander. And so you both have to just sit there and stare at each other for 2.5 minutes, which is just ridiculous that that's also not fixed. Anyway, especially given the fact that they actually made the Commander an official format that they sanction and stuff and hold tournaments for. So, game 2. I'm going second, obviously. I have a hand that is very borderline keepable. However, it does have Brainstorm and Windswept Heath and Regrowth, which means that if I'm able to Brainstorm into just 1 additional land, I'll be able to Regrowth and get 3. Reclamation Sage gives me a lot of security against his early ramp potential. And, of course, Mana Drain into Tezzeret Seeker can often be completely decisive game over. So I'm going to keep this hand, even though it's a little bit sketchy and dangerous. It's going to unfold. It'll really depend, actually, on what his start is like. So it goes to his upkeep. He gains his obligatory 2. All right, Windswept Heath. I can match that, buddy. Come on, land. Let's just, like, not even make me have to sweat. All right, a land. It's a wasteland. Cool. All right, I'm going to play my Windswept Heath here with the full intention of regrowing that Windswept Heath next turn. So he sacks end of turn. Of course, in response, I'm going to do this myself since it's guaranteed to resolve. So he can't stifle or pierce or something. I'll Brainstorm. No lands. Terrible. But at least I've got Regrowth, so it's not completely without a hope. This weird, bizarre, goth-looking Llanowar elf. I'm not sure what's going on with this picture. Some weird bug with Magic Online. All right, 33. Dimmer Signet. All right, making a second appearance. That's totally fine, given the fact that I've got that. I've got the Reclamation Sage in hand. I'll be able to play it next turn. So I'm going to regrow my Windswept Heath. Be done. I really need him to not play another rampy card like a Thran Dynamo or something. That would be scary. Instead of a Thran Dynamo, something much much more innocuous, Mindcrank. No idea whatsoever why he's playing with this card, but I guess he's got it in his deck. And then he also plays Ghoul Draws Assassin, which is actually quite strong against Edric, given the fact that with just 2 levels, it blows my creatures up. Nearly almost every creature in my whole deck is killed by that thing, and it's because it's black, and it's a creature, and I'm blue-green, it's very hard to kill it. So it could be very problematic, but at least he doesn't have a lot of mana available to start leveling it up quickly. And I'm going to make sure that he has even less mana available by fetching my breeder. Oh, yeah, that's right, I'm getting milled by Mindcrank. No, losing Gaia's Cradle and Skullclamp, the hero from last game. But that's fine, because I got Den Protector and Birthing Pod as well, so I can certainly just retrieve whatever gets milled away at my convenience. That's the thing about cards like Mindcrank and stuff, is that maybe they seem like they're actually affecting the game in a positive way, but if your opponent has any type of recursion, you can actually be doing them a huge favor. And an EDH, which is such a broad format that has tons of giant monsters and reanimation and stuff, I don't think you can play with cards that just put cards indiscriminately into your opponent's graveyard. It's way too risky. So feeling okay here. It's really going to come down to whether or not he's able to draw black mana quickly and level up that Ghoul Assassin before, Ghoul Draws Assassin before I'm able to deal with it. I do have Venser also, which is very nice. If he invests 4 mana into pumping his guy up, I can just bounce back to his hand. And I do have Birthing Pod as well into Sower of Temptation to steal it, so I'm not too worried. All right, he levels up once and doesn't even attack. So you're intending to block with that, I guess? Ooh, Mana Vault. That's gorgeous. Okay, so I have the option right now to just go Mana Vault into Tezzeret and presumably get something decent. And the more I think about that play, while it is a little bit tempting, I decide that I'd rather just start drawing cards here. He still, unless he draws another black mana source, I'm going to be able to at least have one more turn of reprieve after he levels this guy up before it can start doing anything, and I intend to just Venser it. So with that in mind, I'm just going to play Edric here and force him to potentially block. He does not block. Oops. And off that I get a Chrome Mox. And no question, I'm just going to imprint it right now and use this useless Llanowar Elf. since I'm a turn away from being able to play it. And that allows me to play a Mana Vault as well. So my mana just explodes right there by 4. Alright, do not draw black. Black mana would be really bad for me. Alright, he got land, but it's just an island. And he levels up again. Completely fine. Alright, so you may wonder why I even included this game, because it's obviously, you can see which direction it's headed already, unless something really disastrous happens like Supreme Verdict. But what's actually an issue here is the fact that I'm at 722 and he's at 37 health, and with Oloro gaining 2 life a turn, it can actually be extremely hard to kill someone in time, especially when so much of my clock is already gone. And I'm actually thinking about this whole course of how I've got exactly enough mana with the Mana Vault to play Tezzeret the Seeker and tap out to steal this guy now that he's leveled it up twice and bash him for 4. And then my deck just delivers the goods right off the top as if to apologize for last game. Just hands me a Veldican Shackles. I'm going to steal his guy, and I've got 2 mana available to mana drain. Disgusting. And he has Path to Exile there. Stop, please. He has Path to Exile there, and I'm sure that some people in this position would have mana drained here because it meant that I could draw 2 cards. But given the fact that he's got 3 mana available, and I'm sure he's playing quite a few different versions of Wrath of God, I decided that it's fine for him to kill my guy, since I can recast it relatively trivially in a few turns. And I don't really need the cards right now anyway, given that I've got a pretty good hand and 5 cards in hand. So I'm fine to just let him rampant growth me and lose a card from his hand and keep the mana drain available. Sure enough, on his turn, engineered explosives for 3, which is exactly why I did not mana drain, because that means that I can mana drain that. It's interesting too. It's still, even though it's got an X in the casting cost instead of 0, which is kind of cool because it's like not. It is Sunburst, but Sunburst is different from things like Everflowing Chalice. So mana draining that means I actually get 3 generic mana next turn, which is quite wonderful. Goes back to my turn. I get to keep my shackles since I counterspelled the engineer explosives. Take 1. I can lose some more life. Oh no, Ancient Tim. Okay, I'm going to play. Alright, so now it's definitely time to play Mr. Tezzeret. And I'm not going to even beat around the bush here. I'm just going straight for the orb. Given that he's tapped out, I only have 2 lands tapped at this moment. I've got a Mana Vault and a Chrome Mox in play already, and this is going to just keep him completely on the back foot from here on out. Plus, I've got Venser potentially as well to stop whatever he does. But the issue right here is that he's at 33, and I'm down to just 6 minutes, and everything just takes a lot of time to do on Magic Online. And I decide I'm just going to, even though it means I can't cast my Venser, as soon as he untaps his Godless Shrine during his upkeep, I decide I'm just going to wasteland it. Just to really keep him paralyzed. He does draw an island, so he's not totally out of it. Alright, during upkeep, take another damage, get Mind Cranked for 1. Yep, that's fine. Phantasmal Image. That would have been handy, I guess, to copy the Reclamation Sage and destroy Mind Crank, but that's fine. Alright, so I use Tezzeret to untap my 2 artifacts. And I'm thinking about what to do here. And ultimately I decide that I actually want a little bit more security with my hand. I'm going to go get a Mana Drain off by Unmorphing Den Protector. Plus it just puts more pressure on board. Still have the ability to use Venser if need be, and I get to hit for 4 here. But time is ticking, down to 4:30. It's getting a little bit scary given that he's at 33. And you never really know when the interface is going to start super lagging too. Plus, if I start drawing cards with Edric, which I intend to do, that adds even more time. I'm down to 4:25. Alright, and it takes time to like take damage from the Mana Vault. It takes time to have the Mind Crank affect me. You can just see down to 4:15, and he's still at 33. Alright, feeling time pressure. Time to cast Edric. This allows me to really seal the game up now that I've got 2 counter spells. Draw 3, 343, draw Terastodon. Aha! Interesting. So normally when you draw Terastodon, your first thought is, okay, cool, I'm just going to crush his lands and blow him out. But honestly, if I use Terastodon and I give him 3 elephants, then he's going to have extra blockers to run out the clock. Which means that for the first time in a long time, I'm going to have to use this Big Papa completely proactively. We'll see what I plan to do with it in a second. And goes back to his turn. He's got 5 mana available now, and he casts Thran Dynamo, which I'm happy to mana drain. get cranked down to 3 minutes on the clock. Yep, there's Unified Will, and I've got a ton of mana in my pool here. Use Tezzeret to untap, and this is also an insurance policy because I can bash with some of these artifacts as well, attack for 15 extra. So I'm about to cast the big Terastodon, and then I thought better of it and decided to cast Cloud of Fairies first, of course, since it's free. Screwed my mana up a little bit there, just because I'm playing super fast, given that I've got 2:30 on the clock. And you wouldn't, I don't know how many of you guys who are watching are familiar with the interface, but it's amazing how much time you can just eat up doing random mundane things, like just take minutes off the clock before you know it and run out of time. So I play Terastodon, of course, no intention of destroying his tap lands, but I've got nice juicy targets right here. This tap mana vault as well as 2 islands. So for 9 mana, I put 18 power and creatures in play. Yeah, deal with that clock, Mr. Oloro. Smash. Draw another 4 cards, get Lapse. Yeah, this is all just inevitable. Get Forest and Lapse. And Jace, you notice I only drew 3 there, because in my haste I accidentally clicked no, I did not want to draw off Edric. But I'm down to 155. It's just crazy how fast this goes away. Goes to his turn. I have to respond to everything. He plays a Serra Ascendant. Not too helpful when he's at 21. And I might actually get a use out of his Assassin. Goes back to his turn. And looking at the clock, I'm at 1:33, and I decide to end this in style. I go and I fetch a Mox Diamond, which allows me to use his Assassin to kill off the Serra Ascendant. And he's at 21. I've got 1 minute and 22 on the clock, but I've got, what is this, 7, 8. 8 plus 18 is 26 damage. Here they come, get ready. Smash. And with 1 minute and 8 seconds left on the clock, deliver the lethal damage and win this match 2-0. So, yeah, I wanted to include this game just because it wasn't bugged out and kind of a neat game, seeing the sequencing to win the game before I ran out of time. It wasn't really particularly close, and obviously without the artificial constraint of time pressure, it was a complete blowout. But I hope you guys enjoyed that game as well as the series, and kind of neat to see this Edric deck back in action. I've actually made one change to it. I finally removed the Chasm Skulker. Just felt like kind of a win more card for me, honestly. A majority of the time it just didn't do anything. It was only really shining when I was already attacking with Edric, or I had Jace, or I had Sylvan Library or something. And I replaced it with the 1/1 blue flyer for 1 that you can sacrifice for 1 blue mana to counterspell anything that targets you or a creature you control. I think that guy's actually really awesome because it's not only cheap evasion, but it protects Edric and protects other targets as well. I think definitely worth using. And you'll probably see it in future games. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I've got more to come soon. Take care.